Shall I start? So hello. I hope I'm talking to somebody there. And if you're there, say hello. It is strange feeling. Hello. Hold on 1 second. I hope I'm talking to somebody there. And if you're there, sorry, it's coming. The sound is coming from here. I need to hold on 1 second. Okay, so I need to mute. I need to mute the computer. Okay, so
should be done. Should be that. Sorry.
Thank you. So I have a second computer here to listen. Stay for a moment, Billy, until people. I want to see if people begin to write, if there's something to be done. So I need to. So if there are people connecting, so I see a few people connecting in this moment. So I see a few people connecting. So it looks like we are beginning to be in business. So those of you who are connecting, whether you write to me, where do they write, Billy, to tell them?
On the right side of the screen.
Right side of the screen.
If you have the video minimized within YouTube.
So video minimizer, and there is a chat there. So whether you write something to me, so I don't feel that I'm alone talking to a camera, say something nice, say hello, say your name. You say hello from Barry. Okay, Barry, hello. I'm glad you're there. So I know that there are more people are signing up. So let's welcome. So Billy, you stay here while people sign up. You're not alone. Sylvie also, thank you. More, Ira, Mark, Ruth. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Keep saying hello to me, so I don't feel crazy here. Who is here? Nancy. Nancy, welcome, Nancy. This is very nice. Martha, wonderful, wonderful. You see, that's exactly Heschel. Man is not alone. You know, God in search of man. This is Marcelo in search of the viewers to see that I'm not alone. So I'm checking who is here. So I see more people signing up. So write to me. Again, Billy, the instructions is you minimize the screen, you go to the right-hand side, and there is a chat. And you can write something there where you're going to write the questions. In this moment, you can write and hello, so I can read your name. Ron Gatman. Hineni, how are you? Wonderful. Amy, wonderful. This is great. So this is great. So a few more minutes, people contact. You know, it's only 12:01, so we could take a few more minutes.
There's that long delay.
So, and since this is a reading of a Hasidic Rebbe, let's have a Hasidic nigun. Let's have a Hasidic nigun. Ya 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 ya. Hello, John. Ya 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 ya. Sing with me. Ya 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 ra ra, ya 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 ra ra, ya ya ra ra, ya 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 ya, ya ra ra, ya 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 ya, ya 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 ya, ya ra ya ya. Yara ya 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 yara ra ra ya ya yara ra ya yara ya ya yara ra 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 ya ya yara ra ya yara ra ra ra. Hi. So thank you, Billy. I think I can continue by myself. She's checking that everything is okay. So, first of all, I want to say bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, O God, sovereign of the universe, who commanded us with a blessing and the opportunity to leitasek, to be together and to wrestle and to dwell and to communicate and to encounter and to meet through the words of Torah. And so I come to this chat, to this conversation with tremendous sense of humility, the tremendous sense of humility and love and gratitude. I'm not a philosopher, I'm not a Heschel expert, but I am somebody who has been deeply affected by Heschel. I am somebody whose life has been changed because of Heschel. I am somebody who I feel that my life is different because of Heschel. So I'm going to talk from that place. I'm going to talk from the place of my heart, where my heart and my mind and my spirit come together. And Heschel is the place where Hasidut, because he was a Chassid, he was destined to be a Chassid, as Susanna Heschel said many times. And by the way, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Susanna for compiling these essays and putting it together in this book, and also for carrying the legacy of her father and being a writer and theologian on her own right. And I was saying that Heschel was destined to be a Chassid, coming from a Hasidic family, from the Abter Rebbe, and he comes from a lineage of Hasidim. But Heschel becomes a bridge, and if we want to understand Heschel, we need to go to that bridge. So we have to have the generosity of spirit of reading Heschel, not where we are only, but also to go to the bridge, to go to the landscape that Heschel invites us to be in. Heschel is the bridge where Hasidut, Martin Buber, and Martin Luther King meet. So he was born in Warsaw in 1907 from a Hasidic family. And in 1936, he meets in Berlin, after studying at the university, he meets Martin Buber, and then he takes a position that Martin Buber leaves when he goes to Palestine. And he becomes this Renaissance man. And then he's saved by the Hebrew Union College, comes to Cincinnati and then to New York. This is a man, as also Susanna said once, that he used to cross the street when he was walking by a church. And this is a man that then intervenes in Vatican II and has so much to say about Nostra Aetate. And he becomes this close friend of of Martin Luther King Jr. So you're talking about a man that in his life did a journey. Oh my God, what a journey he did. The journey of the soul of this man, the journey of the spirit of this man. So I want to ask you to read Heschel with the humility and the trepidation of knowing that you're jumping into a spirit, a landscape, a Wissenschaft, a way of looking at the world, of somebody who connected dots that were non-connected before, that were completely unfathomable, that would be able to connect ever. And for us, certain things that are a given because an Abraham Joshua Heschel walk the walk. And also, this is very, very dear to me because I read Heschel in Spanish. So I'm a disciple of one of the disciples of Heschel, of Marshall. And when you were a student at the seminario, sometimes we used to put a sign at the seminario as a joke to Marshall. And we used to say, sometimes it's okay to read something else but Heschel. Because, you have to be in the seminario in Argentina always walking with a Heschel book. If not, you were not really, really kosher. And the words of Heschel during the times of the dictatorship, during the times of the oppression, about social justice, about his opposition to the war in Vietnam, about the idea that in a society, not everybody is guilty, but we're all responsible. You understand the power of those words when people around you are being kidnapped and disappeared. The words of the prophets. So I would say that Heschel changed my life. So I approach these words and his words as a holy text with tremendous sense of gratitude and tremendous sense of awe. So this specific, now this text, the spirit of Jewish prayer. The spirit of Jewish prayer also it's a very important text for us here at BJ, because many times at the beginning, Rolly myself and then Rolly Felicia and myself, we would go back to this text and say what Heschel would say to us. What Heschel would say to us about prayer at BJ. And I remember Sylvia Heschel saying to us, she used to come to BJ and she used to say, one of the most beautiful things for me was when she used to say, if Heschel, she called him Heschel, if Heschel would be alive, he would come to BJ to pray. I said, oh, to hear these words. And but so we would read this text and say what Heschel would say. And these words sometimes are so painful and so harsh. And we have to read them with the love of the chassid, of the tochecha, of the rebuke of the prophets, where he knows that we need to grow. And he writes it in the 50s. So I'm going to read some paragraphs. So I am in the beginning. This is page 100. What says, the modern synagogue suffers from a severe cold. Our congregants preserve a respectful distance between the prayer book and themselves. They say the words, forgive us for we have sinned. But of course they are not meant. They say you shall love your Lord, your God, with all your heart. End of quote. In lofty detachment, in complete anonymity, as is giving an impartial opinion about an irrelevant question. That's Heschel talking. Who can talk like that? That's Heschel talking. Imagine that he's giving this speech, I'm sure, to congregations. And in the 50s, he's saying, yes, we attained the the synagogues, and this decorum. He's complaining against the decorum, and he's complaining about the rabbi becoming an MC. You're there, an MC. The rabbi is not really praying; it's an MC announcing pages. So he's complaining about that. So prayer, he says later in page 103. I'm going to jump because, listen, I'm not going to cover this article. It's impossible. It's so much. It's so powerful. In chapter 2 says, prayer is an extremely embarrassing phenomenon. Embarrassing phenomenon. These words, according to Susanna Heschel, Heschel in English found a new type of poetry. Prayer is an extremely embarrassing phenomenon. Later, he says that is subversive. It's embarrassing because you should expose yourself. It's about exposing. It's about the Kol Dmama Daka, the small still voice of the soul. It's about the brokenness. God is the Arofel Shmurei Lev, the healer of the broken soul. So you expose yourself. So let me now go to page 104. Page 104. In the second half of the page. Prayer is the identification of the worshipper with the people of Israel, or the occasion for immersing ourselves in the living reality of our people. It is built on a theology which regards God as a symbol of social action. He's here wanted to go, what's the objective? What's the goal of prayer? Why are we praying? Letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai, for the sake of fixing the world. Why? Why are we praying? What is the goal of prayer? Is prayer for men, women, for children? So now I'm on page 105 in the middle. Contrary to sociological theories, individual prayer comes first, while collective prayer is a late phenomenon which is not even mentioned in the Bible. So prayer, in the Torah, it's an individual phenomenon. So the person, the individual, is the one, when we pray for Miriam, El Narefan Allah, is God heal her. It's what is called Avodah Shevalev. Avodah Shevalev, the prayer of the heart. So the spontaneous outburst is what we have at the beginning. But then is the collective. Now the last paragraph on page 105. The doctrine maintains that the individual self of the worshipper is the whole sphere of prayer life. The assumption is that God is an idea, a process, a source, a fountain, a spring, a power. But one cannot pray to an idea. One cannot address his prayers to a fountain of values. To whom then do we direct our prayers? Yes, there is an answer. As a recent writer put it, we address prayers to the good within ourselves. I do not wish to minimize the fact that we all suffer from an egocentric predicament. Our souls tend to confine itself to its own ideas, interests, and emotions. He's reacting to that. So what's the danger? If the person, the individual, we ourselves, our kavanah, our intentions, is the center of prayer, we could begin to believe that prayer is self-centered. You understand? We could transform ourselves in the objective of prayer. And he said, no, maybe that's the starting point, but can never be the end point. And then he takes the Heschel knife. I can hear the Kotzke Rebbe here. I can hear the Kotzke Rebbe with the sharpness of a punch in the belly in page 106. Look in the below the middle when it says biologically. It's second half towards the right. Biologically, we are Jews. Theologically, we are pagan to a considerable degree. And now he quotes the Torah from Bereshit. Our hands are the hands of Jacob, but our voice is often the voice of Esau. We are bitter problems which religion has to solve: agony, sin, despair. There is darkness in the world. There is horror in the soul. What has the community of Israel to say to the world? You understand this idea of paganism, and biologically we are Jews, but theologically we are pagan. Basically, what is it really our objects of adoration? What do we really adore? What is really sacred for us? That is what we say. What is really our object of adoration of modern human beings? What is it? The market? Where is it? What really do we pay the attention and we declare sacred enough that we dance around in our lives? And then he says, but the matter of religion is there is horror. There's horror in the world that the community of Israel has to say something. There's something that we have to say. There's a message. Yes, Heschel is flipping. Somebody's saying the Esau text. Fascinating. Fascinating. So now I'm going to jump, because I see we're already 12:20. Jump to page 107. It's great that you write to me. I'm looking at the computer. If you have questions, sometimes I'm going to read your questions, your comments. Fantastic. We talk to each other. This is great. So 107, middle of the page. Prayer is the microcosm of the soul. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that, just that. Prayer is the microcosm of the soul. It is the whole soul in one moment. The quintessence of all our acts. The climax of all our thoughts. It rises as high as our thoughts. Now, if Torah is nothing but national literature of Jewish people, if the mystery of revelation is discarded as superstition, then prayer is hardly more than a soliloquy. If God does not have power to speak to us, how should we possess the power to speak to God? Thus, prayer is a part of a greater issue. Do you understand what I told you about going to a bridge? Some people, unfortunately, have said that Heschel is just poetry. I mean, poetry is amazing. He's a poet in the way he speaks and the content, my God. So it's the whole soul in one moment. If we could get to a moment of prayer that is complete, that is authentic, that is relevant, our whole soul, our own identity, our own reality, our own truth, Hatimato shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the seal of God is truth, our sages used to say. That is what is expressed in true prayer. So it's a climax. So whom do we speak if God is an idea? Then below the line on 107, the issue of prayer is not prayer. The issue of prayer is God. Here's the Hasid talking. Here's the Hasid talking. Avodat Hashem. Avodat Hashem. The work, the prayer, the offering to God. The issue of prayer is not prayer. We don't have a problem with prayer. Let's be honest what Heschel is saying. We have a problem with God. We have a problem with the believing God, with accepting God, with feeling the presence of God, with bringing God to our lives. One cannot pray unless has faith in his own ability to cause the infinite, merciful, eternal God. Why to pray, he's saying, if there is not access to this infinite, what he would call the ineffable. So the issue of prayer is not prayer. The issue of prayer is God. Moreover, we must not overlook one of the profound principles of Judaism. There is something which is far greater than my desire to pray, namely God's desire that I pray. These are his books. Man is not alone. Why? Because, say it. Who read Heschel? Say it. Somebody write to me, please. Man is not alone because I'm waiting for an answer in the computer. I know that we have a delay, so I have to wait. I have to wait patiently. He's saying that God wants us to pray. So man is not alone because, yes, thank you, Ira. Because, yes, God is in search of man. That's exactly. Thank you, Ira. Thank you, Mark. Those are the two books, the most important books. Some of them, I mean, they're both all important. So religion also and God is an answer to the loneliness, we are the speck in the universe, but we are part of the divine. We find this Nitzot Hashem, the spark of God, that we are part of this universe. So when we pray, we connect these Nitzotzot. We connect these sparks of the divine. So the object of prayer is not prayer of self, and it's not ourselves. And then he's going to go deeper into that. Chapter 3, 108. How should we define prayer? Shall we define prayer? Since it is, first of all, a phenomenon of human consciousness, we must ask, what is a person? What is it that person is conscious of in a moment of prayer? There is a classical statement in rabbinic literature that expresses the spiritual meaning of prayer as an act of consciousness of man. Da lifnei mi ata omed. Know before whom you stand. Know before whom you stand. Stand. That's fantastic. You understand? So prayer, in this sense, and according to Heschel, and he also brings the Kotzker and other rabbinic literature, that's why we go back and we come back when we say the Amidah, because we have the king, the sovereign. Don't know that we are approaching the divine in the moment of Amidah. Know before whom you stand. Know meaning knowledge. Knowledge. No. A teacher of mine in yeshiva used to say, have holy chutzpah, to go to the place of meeting the ruler, the king, the sovereign. Go to the divine in that moment. go to the bridge, maybe what I'm saying to you in this moment. So he's saying it comes from insight. Prayer comes from insight. Prayer is insight. To live without prayer is to live without God and to live without a soul. This is I'm reading in the middle of the page. This is Kotzker Rebbe as his best judgment. Boom. He continued. There are people who maintain that prayer is a matter of emotion. Last paragraph. Emotion is an important component, but it's not the source of prayer. The power to pray does not depend on whether a person is choleric or phlegmatic temperament. One may be extremely emotional and be unable to generate that power. This is decisive. Worship comes out of an insight. It's not the result of intellectual oversight. It's not the work of an ignorant. Only when you know so much is when you can approach mystery. Mystery is not the embrace of the one who says, I go to pray because I don't know. I'm going to pray because everything that I know tells me there is more to know. And in that place of not knowing, I embrace the mystery of life. And there is where I find God. 109, first paragraph. What is more, prayer has the power to generate insight. It is often endows us with an understanding not attainable by speculation. Some of our deepest insight, decision, and attitudes are born in moments of prayer. It's true. It happens to me all the time. It happens to me all the time. Remember, if you want to say something, I have a computer next to me that I can read whatever you say. Know before whom you stand. Such knowledge, such understanding is not easily won. It is neither a gift we receive, and deservedly not a treasure to be found inadvertently. That's why prayer, it's a practice. It's an exercise. That's why personally I meditate before praying. I prepare myself before praying. It's an exercise, it's a practice to go to that place. Let me just go a little bit further. Go to page 110. Page 110, the middle paragraph. The middle paragraph. Great is the power of prayer. For the worship is to expand the presence of God in the world. God is transcendent, but our worship makes God immanent. That is implied in the idea that God is in need of man. His being immanent depends upon us. When we say, bless be God, we extend God's glory, we bestow God's Spirit upon this world, magnified and sanctified. May there be more God in this world. In this regard, prayer becomes the bridge. Prayer becomes the vehicle by which we connect heaven and earth. It's the place where we stand up and we go to access that sparks of holiness and that moment of mystery. I just want to underline, he's going to speak later. I don't know if we're going to get there, to this issue of the ineffable, the mystery. For me, this is one of the biggest gifts that Heschel gave me. And, I'm a clinical psychologist. I work with emotions and I work with rationalism. And he was also a rationalist. He's a philosopher. But I believe in there is There's an understanding that comes through science that I love. And there is a surrender that comes in embracing the mystery. And to surrender, not in the sense of, I don't understand. Surrender in the sense that I am part of something bigger than even my own understanding. And there opens the doors to multiple possibilities. And those possibilities are expressed in the moment of prayer. Are expressed in the moment of, I know in front of whom I'm standing, but I really don't know what is going to happen. And I am in a holy ground. I should take my shoes. I should take my shoes off. It's a metaphor for saying I should take my presumptions. And I think that's the invitation that Heschel makes. In the same page, 110 below, says, the true source of prayer we said above is not an emotion, but an insight. Is the insight into the mystery of reality, the sense of ineffable, that enables us to pray. As long as we refuse to take notice of what is beyond our sight, beyond our reason, as long as we are blind to the mystery of being, the way of prayer is close to us. Yes, yes. If not prayer, what is? It's just a song. So when this incredible choir that we generate at BJ, but it could be just beautiful music, that's all. But when we know that together we are touching something that we cannot fully define, that's Avodat Kodesh. That's the ineffable. Last paragraph. The way of prayer leads through acts of wonder and radical amazement. Those are Heschel keywords. Radical amazement. Wow. Yeah, radical amazement. We're alive. We're breathing. There's seasons. When there's no radical amazement, we don't realize that the problem of climate change, you understand? That cannot be, whatever, summer in winter. We have to be amazed that there are seasons. And when there are no seasons, we should be worried. The illusion of total intelligibility is indifference to the mystery that is everywhere. The foolishness of ultimate self-reliance are serious obstacles on the way. Yes, this is for us so much. I have to be self-sufficient. As once Joseph Telushkin said, the definition of a modern man is the one who says, and I am a self-made man, and I worship my maker. He is rejecting that. We are not self-made man. We are human beings that have a creator, and we create each other, and we depend on each other, and we help each other, and each other we create a society that is based on values or is based on just our own egos. 111, praise is our first response. He's talking about prayer. This is why Jewish liturgy praise and then petitions rank foremost. Beautiful. I like these questions. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm going to read in a moment some of the questions. And now, because he's touching some of the specifics. I think you can read each other questions. I hope so, because it would be great that also you dialogue with each other. This is about creating community also. And I ask you at the beginning to be in the bridge with Heschel. Okay, just allow yourself to go there. Okay, he invites us to go there, and I know it's difficult to be in this bridge with with the Chassid and the philosopher. But it's a beautiful invitation. It says, chapter 4, prayer, there is a specific difficulty with Jewish prayer. There are laws, how to pray, when to pray, what to pray. There are fixed times, fixed ways, fixed texts. On the other hand, prayer is a worship of the heart, avodah shebalev, the outpouring of the soul, a matter of devotion. Thus, Jewish prayer is guided by two opposite principles, order and outburst, regularity and spontaneity, uniformity and individuality, law and freedom. However, the pole of regularity usually proves to be stronger than the pole of spontaneity. As a result, there is a perpetual danger of prayer becoming a mere habit, a mechanical performance, an exercise of repetitiousness. That for him was a killer. This behavioral that could happen everywhere, could happen to us, everywhere. And that's a problem of universal significance. And that's the problem within the relationship between Halacha and Haggadah. Polarity, I'm in the last paragraph of page 111. Polarity is an essential trait of all things in reality. And in Jewish faith, the relationship between Halacha and Haggadah is one of polarity, it's a tension. Taken abstractly, they seem to be mutually exclusive, yet in actual living they involve each other. Jewish tradition maintains that there is no Halacha without Haggadah, there is no Haggadah without Halacha. And one must neither discharge the body nor sacrifice the spirit. The body is the discipline, the pattern, the law. The spirit is the inner devotion, spontaneity, freedom. The body without the spirit is a corpse. The spirit without the body is a ghost. Boom, Heschel. And yet the polarity exists and it's a source of constant anxiety and occasional tension. How to maintain the reciprocity of tradition and freedom, how to retain both keva and kavanah, regularity and spontaneity, without upsetting one of and stifling the other. That's wow. We could stay here for another 45 minutes. And some of us have to acknowledge, that's why I come here with so much trepidation and love and respect and honor and kavod. And I say to Moreinu, Ravenu, Abraham Joshua Heschel, Morive Ravi, I know that I am much more into the Kavanah team. Or not team, there's no team, side of the spectrum, because this creative tension is a creative tension. There's Keva and Kavanah. Keva, the fix, Kavanah, the intention, the spontaneity. And I am the ones, that's why I practice mindfulness and meditation. My prayer, my personal prayer sometimes is just one prayer, and I stay 45 minutes with it. And so I know that I'm not fulfilling everything that I have to do. And those who come to my retreat, they know I don't, and to the mindfulness prayer, we don't do the whole thing. And to try to go deeper and deeper and deeper, to go to the avodah shebalev, to go to. So I am more into the kavanah side of the tension, but I wouldn't like to live without that tension, because this is a creative tension. This is a creative tension. There's not a tension to be resolved. We don't have to resolve this question, this tension. If we resolve this tension, we are dead. You understand? The tension is to be lived, to be honored, to be expressed, to be wrestled with, to arrive to a conclusion, then to jump to another conclusion, then to change, then to find the nigun, and then to change again. So I believe that Rabbi Heschel, he wasn't a pulpit rabbi. He is a rabbi who inspired those of us in the pulpit rabbinate, and also he inspired religious leaders. And we are, one of my daughters says to me, Daddy, you are in the wrong business, because religion is such a hard sale in this moment. Because we are in a moment of so much fundamentalism and so much hatred in the name of religion. So the voice of Heschel is needed so much. It's a voice of love, of tolerance. I know that he departs from the place of feeling the presence of God. I know that he will be too much for too many. I understand. I really understand. But allow yourself to go there. It's an invitation from a great man, a great rabbi, to go to it's like theater, like good theater, that like Shakespeare, but with this Jewish content, that you allow yourself to go to this pool of knowledge, of wisdom, of beauty, to take something, to be inspired, and to believe that we have something to say to God. God has something to say to us. And if you have problems with the idea of God, it's okay. Have problems. Live with them. The issue is not to be indifferent. But if you have problems, you're doing good. You're okay. So we started with a nigun. Let's finish with a nigun, because we are talking about the words of the Chassid, a beautiful Chassid. Let's do another one. That it's. And I just look behind me, that you could see the picture of Ralph Bunche, Martin Luther King, and Abraham Joshua Heschel that a dear beloved BJ member gave me as a present. So much love. Thank you for being with me, and keep studying Heschel. He's a good friend to all of us. Bye-bye.